This is Andy Purewell for Boxing News. I'm joined by former world champion Carl Frampton here in Saudi Arabia. Carl, good to see you. You're the most popular man on the streets.
I don't know about that. No one else is here yet, that's all.
I wouldn't say that. The stars are arriving and you're the first. We're here one more day. Hopefully no more mishaps. Fury Usyk. Carl, you've had some massive fights in your career. You've travelled the world and fought. How big does this fight feel in comparison to what you went through in your career?
It's not comparable. I mean, the stuff that these guys are doing, what's going on at the minute, this is history in the making. I don't think we can kind of over-egg how important this fight is to our sport in general. Like we're gonna finally see an undisputed champion, the first time since Lennox Lewis. In my opinion, the heavyweight champion of the world is still to be the heavyweight champion of the world, still the greatest prize in sport. So. You can't compare anything I've done to this.
You've just said you can't compare anything. I was about to ask you, when you consider, say, this past 25 years since Lennox Lewis was last undisputed, any fight across any weight, is there any fight which you could argue is at least comparable? The one people suggest is Mayweather Pacquiao, even though
Mayweather Pacquiao, nowhere near, because I mean both of them done it way after their best. Maybe if that happened 5 years previous to when it should have, then yes, but. No, I mean there's nothing comes close to this in the last 25 years. Absolutely nothing.
Carl, a lot of people this week in particular have changed their opinion. Fury, Usyk, who they're going to win. Has that been the case with you, or have you stuck with whatever you believe your opinion is going to be?
I normally like chop and change, and a lot of when big fights of this size, normally that's the case. But I've been saying Fury from the start, and I haven't really swayed, and I'm still saying Fury. I mean, you can make an argument for both guys. I love Usyk. I love everything about him. But I just, from start to finish, I've always been saying Fury, and I think I might be right. But who knows? We'll see.
If Fury wasn't to be successful, I know we've got to wait to see how the fight plays out. But what do you think his downfall could be?
Well, his movement. His movement is outstanding. Usyk's movement. His feet work, he bamboozles people. Sometimes he's moving his feet, sometimes he's round the back of you. He's a phenomenal fighter. And there's talk, and I'm hoping that there's talk of Fury maybe being over the hill. Looking at his last fight with Ngannou, I'm hoping that it was just a case of Fury overlooking Francis and not training properly. That's what I think it was anyway. But Fury gets up for the big fights. Look at his performance against Klitschko a long time ago, but it was a big fight and he was an underdog, up for it. The Wilder performances, up for them fights. Then he fights guys like Chisora and guys like Dillian White, and he kind of goes through the motions a bit. But I think once he has the bit between his teeth, I think he's the best heavyweight on the planet.
Carl, do you agree with that age-old saying of a good big man beats a good little man, or do you think that doesn't apply with this fight?
No, I think it. All right, mate. How are you? All right, mate. Never seen him before in my life.
He's going to watch this interview later, thinking that cheeky.
Can't remember what you asked. Oh, big. Yeah, I mean, the majority of the time that's true, but you've got two elite fighters here. I think when you compare their kind of attributes that both of them have and the skills that they have, just add to the fact Fury's size and weight, then that gives him the advantage. But it's unfair just to say that Fury wins the fight because he's bigger. I think there's much more to Tyson Fury than that. But again, man, I might be completely wrong here. It's a real 50-50, but I haven't really changed my mind the whole way.
Carl, in the build-up to this fight, Team Fury never really said whether or not Alexander Usyk was the toughest challenge of Tyson's career. The beginning of the week, their tune changed. They admitted they see him as that being the case. Do you agree? Do you think Alexander Usyk will be Tyson's toughest test so far?
Toughest fight of both guys' career, undoubtedly. Yeah, I don't see it any other way. I mean, Usyk's, like I said, a phenomenal fighter. Better movement than anyone Fury has ever fought before. Punch selection, everything he does. I mean, he's an incredible fighter, but the hardest fight of both fighters' career.
There's always talk earlier this week about how Tyson might come in weight-wise. Obviously, we're doing this before the weigh-in, so we're about to see what he will be. But if he is to be light, like some people are suggesting, do you think that's to his benefit?
Yeah, I think it suits him. I think that he needs to fight at a high pace. He needs to be aggressive. He needs to throw a lot. And I think that, when you talk about him being light, he's still going to be 40 or 50 pounds heavier than Usyk. I think that he needs to work hard. He needs to have a high output, and I think being later allows him to do that. So I don't see that as an issue at all.
Oh, just a couple of thoughts, really quickly get your thoughts on before we wrap this up. Two men you know well, Josh Taylor, Jack Cottrell, rematch next weekend. Firstly, will you be there? Secondly, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm not going. I was originally meant to be doing it for 5 Live, but it's my daughter's football award, so I'm not going now. But you know, again, looking forward to a cracking fight, and I will be watching it at home.
What are your thoughts on it? I know you might not want to give an opinion because you've got allegiances to both men, but
Look, I just hope the best man wins. I hope both guys get paid well. Both guys come out of the fight healthy. They're friends of mine, and I just hope we see, you know, whoever deserves to win the fight wins the fight.
one question, who do you think would have learnt the most from the first fight?
I think probably Josh Taylor. I think there's a chance he may have overlooked Jack. I knew it was going to be a difficult fight for both guys, but Josh had fought at a higher level than Jack Catterall had ever had to fight at before, and I think he maybe overlooked him. I think you have to give Josh all the credit in the world for doing the fight at 140. I think it would have been easy to make that fight at 142, 143. So you have to commend him for that. But I think, yeah, who's learned the most? I'd say Josh probably.
Also, just want to get your thoughts. A week after that, back in Saudi, the 5 versus 5, Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang.
Great fight. Someone's getting knocked out. I know that. It's not going the distance, that fight. Just edging towards Zhang.
And then just before we wrap this up, we've seen Ryan Garcia dotted in and out. I just want to get your thoughts on everything that's happened since his victory versus Devin Haney, the failed VADA test. I know obviously PEDs in boxing, something you're very passionate about. Obviously, nobody agrees with PEDs in boxing. But what's been your thoughts on everything around it?
I mean, like I've always said, I think anyone fails a drug test should be banned for life, and that applies to Ryan Garcia. It just doesn't sit well with me, and the excuse, you know, contaminated stuff and maybe taking things over the counter. This kid has got all the money in the world. He doesn't need the flipping be taking anything over the counter. Everything. I mean, it's bullshit, really. He's failed the test, and yeah, like I said, he should be banned for life.
Carl, I appreciate your time as always. I'm going to leave you to go and enjoy your media work this week. How are you finding it, doing these long hours like we do every day?
It's all right. It's all right. It's not bad. In the heat, it's a bit difficult, but it's all right. There's harder jobs in the world.
Sure, I'm going to start asking TNT to get you to start carrying around all the luggage as well.
All right, mate.
Cheers, Carl.